Well, we can move on from this and move on to that. Oh boy. I may have bit off more than I can chew on this one. We'll have to see. This amp has a pretty long story. We'll go into it here through all this. It's a Kittyhawk M1. And I think this guy got it from, I'm in Delaware, and this amp was built in West Germany, but the factory was in New Jersey. And the guy that I got this from, he either knew somebody that worked there, or he himself had a job there and then opened a music store. I'm not exactly sure that end of it. But he got this amp when they first came to the United States back in the late 70s. And I'll show you some of the caps in it have 79 as a date on it. F&T caps. But he gigged with it for about 5 or 6 years, and then it let the magic smoke out, and I already had it apart once. I'll show you guys. It had a little issue, but it looks like they fixed it pretty good. And anyway, I'll turn it around and get some pictures of it. Yeah, so here's the back of it. I've got the tubes pulled out of it. It's got the dual quad foot switch, plus I got a reverb switch for it, so you can turn the reverb on and off. So there's actually 3. I don't think you could really use a triple switch unless you custom made one. Excuse me for shaking around. I'm just kind of documenting this a little bit because when I was searching for the schematics, there is very, very little information about these things out there. This schematic seems to be the right one. There's a couple other ones out there for M1s that are there's a hand-drawn one, plus there's one that somebody looks like they used a schematic drawing software. It's close, but this one here, it's an actual Kittyhawk diagram. The M1 and the M3 both use the same the same output stage, but they use different preamps. So it says 120 watt grand lead inside. Now, this is what's weird. There ain't no serial number. And I know this amp is not hot. It wasn't stolen. It's all legit. And it's like I said, this guy, it was like when they first came over here, and I'm trying to get the story right. I'll have to think about it a little bit off camera so I can get this right. But I'll go ahead and I just got to slide the chassis out. Anybody that does that, take the chrome off the front of it. Then the chassis slides right out like a fender. The first time I did it, I fought it, and it looked like somebody else had too because they pulled the piping loose. So, all right, I'll be right back. Yeah, so here we go. Now, I've taken some things apart. I don't know how this light is. I'm doing this on my phone. So let me stand off. Mind you, I'm not a production facility or nothing. But I've seen no shots of the inside one of these things to try to help. Now, you'll see I put new pots in it. The pots were just totally shot in it. I did fire it up after I made sure everything was all right, just to see if it was even worth doing anything with, because it sat for about 15 years. And yeah, I ordered the parts. I've got the new caps. There's the new caps over there, and I just kind of set them there. I've got some pictures that I took of it before I changed the pots and everything. I'll post here just for a reference in case somebody else wants to do one. So this is one thing that leads me to believe that it was built in Germany, because it's the power and everything is all set up like European. It's still got a death cap on it, but it's got a 3-wire power cord that's grounded to the chassis. And sorry for the shakiness, guys. Like I say, I don't know, maybe I'll buy a little tripod to be able to do something with, but I found several things here. Right here, this is the signal wire for the effects loop. And it got smashed in between the, I don't know if you can see that. So that ain't good. That's one thing. And this wire right here, this thing is discharged. It hasn't been plugged in for weeks. Plus, I check it every time. Plus, the caps are out of it anyway. But that wire was broke. And the guy said that the effects loop didn't work. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll plug this wire in and the effects loop will work. But then I found a couple other things that wasn't quite right. If you look, I guess this was the magic smoke that he was telling me about. This is the output tube section. Hold on, I gotta go check on something. This thing does have pretty, it's old school circuit boards, but the traces are thick and repairable. If you see, they just ran a piece of wire and soldered onto it right from the pin of the. I think what happened to it, looking at the wiring diagram, is because he said he gigged with it and it broke during a gig, and the switch was switched. The 6L6 EL34 switch, because you can set it up to run either or. Everybody wants to, they think that you could run a pair of each, and if you do that, you will burn something up. But I'll show you a few other things. This one cap right here has a scorch mark on it where it looks like, so I'll change that. I've gone through and checked pretty much all the resistors over to the phase inverter part of the preamp. And I've checked almost everything in the power section. I put new diodes in it. Gonna replace it. I got a little bit more cleaning to do. They had a ton of silicone on it. But it's got, it looks to me like it's got balance. I'm not sure about the two trim pot thing. It might be one for 6L6s and one for EL34s. I'm not sure. But yeah, I just wanted to post this online in case anybody else has one of these. I know the video quality's not the best, but I'm not a photographer. See, everything's like I say, I gotta go clean up a little bit more. That silicone was a pain in the butt. Another interesting thing that I found was one of the cathode resistors is backwards. I'll explain and I'll show you that when I flip the amp around. So, there's a couple piggyback capacitors in the, as you can see, I've started changing. That's the cathode bypass caps for the preamp. Let me find it. They're new Vichys. 25 at 25. Anyway, I'll see how this turns out. I might have to get a tripod, but I think it's been recapped at one time. Let me find it here. This is a F&T cap. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the 11th month of 87. Now, this one here, which is there for the bias supply and the low voltage, I'm not sure if that's a 79 date code. Let me try it. I can't hold the camera still enough. Anyway, but yeah, it's... But this one here is one of the new ones. The stripe is on the negative side. They're marked negative. So it goes to ground. That's the preamp tube socket right here. The positive side goes to the tube. And it goes to ground. Well, this one is backwards. And it's stone cold open. Or I'm sorry, stone cold shorted. It's shorted. I can show you with the meter. Hold on just one second. I'll get... Okay, so here's the preamp section. They're split up. Valve 1A and 1B are the first ones on the top and the bottom, and it's split into the clean and the lead channel. So I'll explain it. I'll put it on the computer and have a picture of it, and I can explain it better. But basically, in the lead channel, let me see. There's the coupling caps. Right? Same thing down here. There's a coupling cap for each section of the 12AX7. Right? Or ECC 83, whichever. I think it's 83 or 82. I can't. Yeah, it's 83. Right? So each one has its own, and it says positive is towards the cathode. They've got this one negative towards the cathode. Let me find it here. Yeah. See, the plus and the stripe is the negative. And here's my meter. It's burnt the slap up. And it's a capacitance meter. See, this is really a nice meter anyway. I'm an auto mechanic by trade, and I had multiple meters for doing stuff. So I'm set up as far as the electronics end of it goes. So hopefully I'm trying to make a little bit of a transition here. Also, something else, there's a resistor that popped down here too. This is all the effects loop. And there's an op amp down in there. I guess it's an op amp. But see that 100K resistor right there? Focus. So, and this is the area where that switch was. Let me find it here. It's right up from that. Yeah, right here. Somebody's done something there. I gotta figure out. But yeah, that one cap there couldn't have been doing her any good. I bet that's why. That's the lead channel too, because it's for the overdrive in the lead, and that's what he said was screwed up on it. So between this wire being broke, unless he might have disconnected that wire so it would half work. Because I got it cheap, but I was only like 19 years old. I thought I had the greatest, loudest amp there was, you know. I didn't know that it was broke. Right now, I just got the knobs off my fender on it. But, yeah, I just wanted to kind of show maybe this all help somebody else that has one. And any kind of a dual triode, or, dual rectifier, because this thing actually has 3 rectifiers. This is the low power rectifiers here underneath of these. That's for the 24 volt. And then there's 2 rectifiers over here that are, this thing's quite the piece of work. But I think I can fix it up. See, there's the power section. Oop. There's the power section. See the 3 rectifiers? Now mine doesn't have the, see, this diagram is for Europe with the fuse primaries. And mine doesn't have the fuses where the fuses are supposed to be, which would be right here. See where it's marked? See where it's marked for the fuses? So that's why everything, I'm pretty sure this is the correct schematic. And see, it's showing it set up with EL34s in it, and that's what it had in it. This is all the parts for it. There's the new cable for the, but I've got some, these are no name generic. It just says EL34M. I have no idea what. They work though, and I had checked the dissipation just to see what it was, and it was in the ballpark of what it should have been. So, yeah, we'll go. We'll keep digging on her. Yeah, so here we are looking from the other side. Those pots are not going to be able to last. They're like really, really, really close to the circuit board. And there's nothing supporting it. The pots were what supported it. So I'm going to have to look around. Mauser's got some that are close, but I might have to cut the little bracket off of the back of it because I'm not sure. The ones that were in it, where are they at? This is the kind that was in it. And see, it's just a little fire. They're Fire brand, and you can still get them, but you got to order like 1,000 of them, and I don't need that many. Yeah, that's washing it out. Check. Yeah, there it is. It says 250K B735. Anyway. Yeah, the pots, I'm going to have to do something different about the pots. But, man, there's something, I took that nut off. This board, man, is, I don't know if it shows up in the video, but you can see how far off the board is. It's bananaed. I'm afraid to do anything about it because the board's, it's took it set like that, so I don't want to try to fix it. Plus the tube sockets are, I'll turn it over. But all in all, I think here's some kind of a signature there. It looks like 2005. But it's not in terrible shape as far as the board goes. It's got some flux I have to clean off of it. At least it don't look like anything's been fried except for when they had that switch in the wrong position and it poofed the output. It might have even took the output transformer out. That might have been, because I heard they had output transformer problems. But I checked it when I did the bias. The ohms and everything were almost equal, like within an ohm or two of each other. So yeah, between that being like that capacitor being in backwards, I still kind of find that hard to believe. They got the positive to the ground. Let's see, and that's V2, right? There's 1A, 1B, no. Anyway, I get it's valve 1, valve 2. Yeah, it goes into valve 2. That's the input. And it goes into valve A first. Yeah, 1A. Yeah, this cable's got pinched in between the frame. This cable got pinched in between the frame and this vertical support here, because they had it bent over like that and run this way. They had it bent over and run that way instead of like this, the way that it was supposed to be. It all falls much more natural then. And they had the wires all wound up down here, and that wire broke off. So I found quite a few things wrong with it, but everything seemed to work as far as, amplifying, and it worked when it would work. It was just when you move the pots, man, the signal would drop out, and you can't clean them because they're sealed plastic. So I'll give you an update. We'll keep it going. All right. Thank you. Bye.